came up with the idea originally in London. I'm from London, and I knew Nick and took the idea to him, and he was interested, and so together we developed it originally in England, and then Nick had the idea to take it over to the States. Said, do you want to try and set it up in the States, which I was very excited about because I'm a huge fan of American shows, especially American cable shows. And so we took it over to the States, and then Nick got it set up for DIRECTV, and that's the short version. Obviously it took a little longer than that, and there were a few ups and downs on the way, but that's the essence of it.
In England, when you do a show like this, there's a limited amount of time that you can get to work it. So we all know that the kind of, maybe you'll get 2 90s or 6 1 hours, maybe if you're lucky. But what we wanted to do was actually tell that story. Well, the reason we took it over to the States was because we realized there was a huge potential there to tell the story over a longer period of time and to really explore properly, in a very complicated and interesting way, those characters. And Thandie was very much related to that because we always wanted her to do the role, because A, we loved her as an actress, B, that we thought that she could do the double character, if you like, of the part quite well, that she could be a hard-ass cop at the same time as being a loving mother. And she was one of the few that we thought, because we had her attached when we were doing it in England, that we could translate over to an American audience. She already had an American audience. So we sort of took her along with, if you like, with the material and said, look, this is our package.
I always knew where I wanted to take it, even from a very early stage, and I always knew where it was going to end. I mean, there was 1 of 3 endings for me originally. Like, I knew that it was going to have a certain number of characters in one place at the same time, and there was going to be that was where the climax was going to happen. But I left it open for me in terms of, there were 3 different scenarios. I don't want to put out any spoilers, but there were 3 different scenarios in terms of who would end up on top, if you like. But then, and it was worked out in quite a lot of detail over the 10 hours before we started the writer's room. And I think what that allowed us to do was, because it was set out so clearly, you could challenge the ideas, there was more flexibility, if you like, because we knew where we were going. So it wasn't like we were floundering around for like, okay, where are we going? We knew where we were going, and then it was all about, okay, what's the most fascinating way and interesting way and compelling way of getting there. So it ended up giving us more, it ended up being quite liberating, actually. On my side of the fence, it's been great. I haven't, you only work with people. You may work with like 3 or 4 different networks, but you don't, they're a person you're talking to about notes and ideas and getting their input and their thoughts and their feelings, and it's all about those personal relationships. So we've been very lucky to have great relationships at E1 and great relationships at DIRECTV, and they get the show. They're very proud of the show. When we were making it, they understood what we wanted to do, and they were always very, very encouraging. So it was great.
I think the interesting thing about your question is how shows are now getting made, right? And traditionally, that model is kind of also broken down, and so what I think has replaced it, perversely or weirdly enough, is almost the financing model of the independent film business, which has been going around for ages and has suffered a relative decline in the last 10 years as cable has grown. That's declined, and that's a business which basically works on a very simple premise of a domestic broadcaster anchoring the show and a foreign sales agent effectively deficit financing against foreign sales the rest of the budget, and that's this very simple way of financing material, and that has started to happen now in a very big way in North America, where both the financier, or if you like, the broadcaster, is not only taking a license, is not only giving you a license to do the work, but is also saying, and part of my investment is equity. So therefore I'm both a producer of the work, and I inherit and will get points in the show as an equity player, but I'm also giving you a license fee to broadcast it. And then what we did in this show, which I think hasn't really been done in television, a lot of television has been done as Canadian content or you know, straightforward American shows or British shows or whatever. What we did is what's called a UK treaty deal, which it means that the composition of our creative talent came from both Europe and Canada and the US, and that was both from an acting point of view and you know, behind the camera and in front of the camera, was below and above the line. And that allowed Matthew and I a great pool of people to work with, and that paradigm's been really, really useful. And now with the introduction in England of the new tax situation for high-level drama, I think you'll see more of these things. The problem with co-productions has always been in the past is convincing the domestic broadcaster, whether it's in England or America or France, that what they're making is of interest to their audience. So that what you always get is quite parochial dramas. But that, I think, is changing, and you're moving away from what the old-fashioned sort of Euro pudding kind of middle of the road, pretty trashy, terrible material that really nobody can broadcast, which has been a kind of staple diet of most of the stuff, to actually bespoke drama at a high level that people want to broadcast. I don't think it changes how you make them, but I think it changes. I think what you're right about is look, there's a massive explosion in high-level drama, scripted content in America because of different cable channels. And simultaneous, that's not just accidental, that's come about because you've had a complete fracturing of traditional distribution. So people don't watch television in the same way as they used to 10 years ago. Appointment television is almost finished as an idea. Network television is almost finished as an idea. It simply just won't exist in 5 to 6 years. They will be content providers, and you will take either the content from NBC or the content from CBS or the content from these, but that's all they will be. And the broadcasters will be the internet. The broadcasters will be your app. It will be on your phone or on anything. So, because of that, what that's done is then make available material in a completely different way. So therefore, you're right. Binge viewing is an interesting way of looking at it, but it's because people want to consume content, and it's like a great book. You know, Matthew's written an amazing drama, an extraordinary piece of work. And it's like a great book. If you want to keep watching, if you want to keep reading it, you're going to keep reading it. And now you've got an opportunity to do that.
I don't think that changes the way you make it, though. I think the fundamentals stay the same, which is you're trying to tell a compelling story. And you know, I remember binge viewing 6 Feet Under and The Sopranos and I would never watch them. They were broadcast, so I would just wait till the DVD came out, box set, and we would just watch, not 10 at a time. We're not that insane, but so maybe 3 at a time until you're satiated, and then but I don't think it changes the way you know. I think what's exciting is there was a while ago where, you know, especially on the networks, it was all about grabbing the attention between the adverts and making sure people didn't turn off on the next commercial break. But in a way, now with the sort of explosion of cable, it allows you to tell, I think, a more confident and mature story without going, gotta have a hook every 7 minutes, you know.